dissidents that we see today, Muslims were really targeted. Muslims were targeted after 9/11. So a lot of these kinds of restrictions that you see on banking, I've had relatives back 15 years ago, 20 years ago actually, that were debanked. My own dad, he wasn't debanked, but his money in a bank, like this is even before 9/11 because I have an Iranian background. So my dad is from Iran. I was born in the US, but because of his background, his money was frozen for a while at one of the banks. It was very difficult for him to unfreeze that, even though like he wasn't charged with any kind of crime, has been working actually in NASA, working for the space program as an engineer, but still that's not enough because of suspicion. And you're kind of like a political outsider, this fifth column, oh, you're Muslim, Iranian, because of the whole conflict between the US and Iran since 1979, his money was frozen for a period of time.
Okay, guys, we got Daniel here today in Las Vegas. Thanks for taking the flight over, man. It's good to see you.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
I know we set this up a while ago. What's been new in your world lately?
Nothing much, just continuing with debating. I have a show that I do regularly talking about religion and politics and things related to what is happening in the US with Israel and the Middle East. So a lot of things.
Nice. You just debated David Wood, right?
Yeah, I had a debate. He's a Christian apologist, and I've debated him before, but we talked about different theological issues. But one of the debates we had was about the fact that the greatest base of support for what the U.S. is doing in supporting Israel is from the Christian conservatives. And I was pointing out that there's a kind of hypocrisy with Christians who claim that they, love everyone and that they're so concerned with the poor and the destitute and the oppressed. But the Palestinians are the most oppressed in the world, and their government, with their mandate, is giving major arms and bombs, 2,000-pound bombs to Israel to drop on poor women and children and the people of Gaza. So he was very uncomfortable with that line of argumentation. And this debate was happening in a church. So it was like a Christian audience, and they became very hostile. They started shouting me down, cursing me, and it became quite a zoo in the church. So
he had home field advantage. Yeah. I wonder, did you want to have a more neutral setting, or did you agree to that setting?
Usually when I do in-person debates, it's in a hostile setting.
Oh, it is?
So it is. So I've been heckled pretty much in every in-person debate that I have, because I debate atheists, I debate Christians, I debate all kinds of religions. And it can get pretty hostile when you're in person. Most of my debates are just virtually through like StreamYard or whatever. But in-person debates is usually a hostile crowd because there's also fewer Muslims in the United States than compared to Christians or atheists or other groups.
Right.
So it's always I'm on the, I have the disadvantage. They have the home field advantage. So
damn, you might have to start rolling with security, man.
Yeah. Oh, there was one because there was a event that I did last year. It was a talk at Queens College in Brooklyn, New York. And it was a lecture that the Muslim student group wanted me to give on Judaism and Israel. And there was a huge backlash trying to prevent me from having a platform to speak. And even the president of Queens College, by name, called me out and denounced me and condemned me. So
crap.
There's gonna be this speaker who's gonna come, Daniel Haqiqatjou, on our campus, and he is the worst of the worst. And we completely disapprove, but because of freedom of speech, we can't cancel it. So there was security at that event from the university, because there were Jewish groups who were protesting and even picketing outside, with a huge Israeli flag and handing out flyers like Daniel's a menace, like Daniel is this, whatever. So there was 4 security guards surrounding me because I was sitting at the front to give the lecture.
Yeah.
And there was a huge police officer standing right next to me. So,
that's nuts.
Yeah,
some
crazy.
of these big universities seem to be very pro-Israel, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of donors. They have a lot of wealthy donors that can pull the plug.
Yeah.
Their board of trustees, often it's at the highest level, such that even the president has to answer to someone above him, or the deans. So it becomes a very controlled environment. And it's only gotten worse with the kind of measures that Trump has taken. As soon as he got into office, he started going after Harvard University, University of Pennsylvania, MIT, all the Ivy Leagues, basically, Columbia especially. Why? Because these universities are allowing pro-Palestine protests on campus.
You think that's why he went after them?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that they were planning in advance before Trump got in office. So you had different think tanks, conservative groups that had this agenda that we need a Republican president in office so that he can fight anti-Semitism on our behalf and to identify the Hamas supporters in the country. Quote unquote, what is a Hamas supporter? Basically anyone who criticizes Israel or anyone who has a problem with genocide. That's a quote unquote Hamas supporter. So we need to crack down on a legal basis, and a Republican president in office will help us do that. They call it Project Esther. Like, this is the term that the Heritage Foundation used. And this was their goal before Trump got in office. Trump gets in office and he starts pulling funding, hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding from these universities. He starts assigning anti-Semitism officials, like anti-Semitism czar, to be on each campus to give the campus a report card for levels of anti-Semitism.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if they don't get a passing grade in terms of shutting down protests, shutting down any kind of professor who is too anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian has to be either disciplined or removed from their position and replaced. Otherwise, you get a bad score as a university, and then you can't get federal funding.
Wow.
So this is a major crackdown on universities, and Trump is, full steam ahead trying to implement this.
That's interesting. So if you wanted to do what Charlie Kirk does and set up a little booth and set up your own debates, you probably wouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, campus police would get involved pretty quickly.
Wow. So you can only do that at maybe private universities.
Yeah, private, or you can find like some kind of public street that a lot of students cross, and it's not technically on campus, but it's like close enough to campus where there are a lot of students. That's a loophole that you can use.
I know Myron's doing that kind of, right, with Uncensored America.
Yeah, those from Fresh and Fit. Yeah.
What do you think of him? Have you had any discussions with Myron?
Yeah, I've met Myron before. He's a really nice guy, and he puts out a lot of good content, especially now. He's a good debater. Like, he's able to handle a crowd, so it's very entertaining. And
I like what he's doing on the streets of Miami now, too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Myron, man. He's holding his ground. I know he's very polarizing, but you got to respect that he stands on his beliefs, right?
Yeah, because what I respect him for real is the fact that he's going out on a limb against Israel, and that has a big cost. And you as well. Like, you have guests.
TikTok,
yeah, you lost your TikTok. You have guests on that are pro-Palestine and speaking for that cause, and you have to pay the price, like literally.
No, literally pay dollars out of my pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could get a lot worse for anyone, actually. Like, if censorship continues to increase, they could just shut things down. Like, okay, no more channel, no more podcast, no more. And then it could get into like, well, now you can't fly, like you're on the no-fly list, or you can't use a credit card, or you can't like. I was actually talking about this recently. Like, since we're moving into a cashless society and everything is digital, you can start restricting where people can buy things.
Wow.
Like, okay, you can't shop on Amazon. You have to actually go to a physical store, and only these stores, because you're restricted from everything else. So even being able to buy with your own money can be restricted, let alone the fact that you're just being surveilled. Like, you can't use certain apps because you're going to be banned. Like, yeah, sure, you won't have a channel or a social media platform. You won't have TikTok, but even other applications can start like limiting your usage. And this is all created because of, this need to surveil the population, control anti-Semitism, control hate. Mm-hmm. It's pretty dystopian. Like, it's a dark future, Black Mirror type future.
Yeah, that does sound scary. They did some of that to Fuentes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they debanked him. I got debanked, but that was actually because of crypto.
Oh.
But that sucked, obviously. I had a really good relationship with that bank. So I experienced that. And luckily there's other banks, but imagine if you got debanked from every single bank. Like, I think Nick, that might have happened to Nick. So that'd be tough to live like that.
Yeah, he definitely faced the brunt of a lot of these restrictions. Like, and they usually roll out these types of restrictions against people who aren't necessarily the most powerful or the most popular.
Right.
So, okay, we can do this against like a 19-year-old or 20-year-old, and no one's going to really step in to call that out and say this is government overreach, this is contrary to his civil rights, et cetera, because he's irrelevant. Like, at that time when they first started doing this, he was not as well known. Mm-hmm. They deliberately target people like that, because then the policy is in place and you have a legal precedent, and then you can expand it and start targeting other people, but then it's too late, like, to protest that, because they've already put the mechanisms in place, the legal mechanisms, the political mechanisms, before even like Nick Fuentes or some of the other dissidents that we see today, Muslims were really targeted. Muslims were targeted after 9/11. So a lot of these kinds of restrictions that you see on banking, like I've had relatives back, 15 years ago, 20 years ago actually, that were debanked. My own dad, he wasn't debanked, but his money became in a bank. Like this is even before 9/11 because I have an Iranian background. So my dad is from Iran. I was born in the US, but because of his background, like his money, it was frozen for a while at one of the banks.
Wow.
And it was very difficult for him to unfreeze that, even though like he wasn't charged with any kind of crime. He has been working actually in NASA as working for the space program as an engineer, but still that's not enough. Like because of suspicion, and you're kind of like a political outsider, like this fifth column, oh, you're Muslim, Iranian, because of the whole conflict between the US and Iran since 1979, his money was frozen for a period of time. And others as well. Like, so these kinds of tactics that we see more recently, they actually have longer roots, like older roots, and Muslims were the ones targeted because Muslims are like a small minority in the US, maybe 1 to 3% of the population in the US. So then they put a lot of these restrictions targeting Muslims first, and then they roll it out to the majority populations as needed.
Shout out to today's sponsor, Quince. As the weather cools, I'm swapping in the pieces that actually gets the job done, that are warm, durable, and built to last. Quince delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. They have fall staples that you'll actually want to wear, like the 100% Mongolian cashmere for just $60. They also got classic fit denim and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quince cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. They've really become a go-to across the board. You guys know how I love linen and how I've talked about it on previous episodes. I picked up some linen pants and they feel incredible. The quality is definitely noticeable compared to other brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/DSH for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. They're also available in Canada too. What's going on? How's the Muslim population these days? Is it growing? Is it shrinking in the US?
It's growing partly because of birth rate, partly because of immigration. So there are a lot of Muslims coming in from different parts of the world, a lot of war-torn parts of the world. But I mean, this is also a point of conversation. I don't know how deep we want to get into the immigration issue.
Yeah.
But so that the population is growing also because of conversion, like people are becoming Muslim. A lot of women convert to Islam.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The biggest in terms of gender demographic in converting to Islam is actually women.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's not what you see on the traditional media news.
Yeah, I mean, the media demonizes Muslims.
Especially
demonize
the woman,
Islam.
right?
Yeah, like women are oppressed and women are this and that. But I think what attracts women to Islam maybe is just gender roles. Like this is something that people actually on a biological level, like they care about and they don't know that it's missing. Like the fact that people are kind of raised within a Western system of just being kind of agender, like without genderless basically. And there's no, like, everyone is expected to have the same path in life and have the same kind of aspirations and personality. Like there's no gender distinction. Like, oh, these are traditionally masculine roles or masculine personality versus female. That's all seen as misogyny. That's all seen like backwards patriarchy and and there's been a concerted effort for many years to kind of erase gender distinction. We're all just people. Yeah. Right. And Islam is, like other traditional religions, other traditional cultures, is contrary to that. Like, no, well, being a man means something. You have a certain role, like you have a certain position in your family. Being a woman, that means something. You have a position in society that will differ based on your gender, expectations in terms of supporting a family financially, etc. So you see someone like Andrew Tate come on the scene and some of these red pill influencers, and they're kind of calling to that more generally, like we want to return to this notion of gender. I think they don't really go far enough. Like, I don't think,
oh, really?
Yeah, because I think it's kind of, they keep it vague. Like things are very vague and it's limited to maybe like dating culture, and they don't go specifically into, well, what does it mean like for you to be a husband?
Yeah.
What does it mean for you to be like a wife?
Yeah, they
like
don't
what
get
are
too
specific like roles? Like, yeah, the specifics, that's where it kind of falls off the
Right.
rails, and it's just something more generic. So when you have a religion, like a traditional religion like Islam, and everything is defined in that way, some people think that that's like constraining, but the majority of people, I think, that they eventually become Muslim, they feel like this is like fulfilling what they always wanted. Like, okay, I have a path, like I have expectations, and it matches like what I inherently feel like as a biological man or biological woman. And like as a woman, I like to be submissive. I like to be, protected by a stronger man. I like to be dedicated to my husband and my kids at home. And I don't want to go and be a boss babe. I don't want to go and work and do the rat race and try to make money. This is what I feel comfortable in. And I've spent, decades in school and because of media and social conditioning to want to be like this career woman and to have it all and to really dominate on the political or career space or finance. But that's not really what I like. That's not what I feel is right for me.
Yeah, that's where you and I will probably agree. I think there's a lot of mental health issues right now, and I think it's because of lack of purpose. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people just don't know what they want, and I think religion can help guide you in that direction.
Yeah, I think that religion has answers to those big questions, and different religions will differ. But what's the alternative to that is like, okay, well, I don't really know what my purpose is. Like, is my purpose on life to just go work? And like, I mean, a lot of us are blessed. Like, we don't have to have a 9-to-5 job, or we don't have to be tied to that kind of being like a blue collar worker, for example. But for the majority of people, like, okay, that's life. Like, I have to go and do this job that I hate, and I have to suffer, and I make money. And then when I come home, I don't even have a family anymore because we have become atomized as individuals in society. Like, parents are estranged from their children, brothers are estranged from their brothers, and sisters are estranged, etc. It's a very lonely life. And then you're supposed to like replace that or get your kind of emotional and social needs met with friends. But even that's being replaced because of social media. Like, we just have these parasocial relationships through the phone.
Yep.
And it's your body, like your subconscious knows that that's not real. Like, that's not a real replacement for what we actually need. So people become depressed. They become anxious. They suffer from all kinds of psychological disorders. And then the solution in the modern world is just to medicate those problems, antidepressants. So it's very dysfunctional. And people see, like, for a lot of the recent history, like, you had a new atheist movement, for example, that has really demonized religion as a whole. Like, why would anyone want to be religious? Like, why would you want to like be chained? Like, you're chained and you're like a slave. You have all these burdens to abide by religious norms. Like, these are just restrictions. What could be good about that? It's just a burden. Like, this is something from the Stone Ages. We have to be progressive. We have to be modern. We are free to do whatever we want, however we want it.
Yeah.
But now people are kind of realizing that, well, too much freedom is actually a bad thing. Like, too much freedom, too much choice. Like, if you have a lot of choices, you become paralyzed with choice. Like, how do I live my life? I actually need guidance. Like, it would be great, like, if there was a pattern, like a blueprint for how to live life. And that doesn't mean I have no choice. That doesn't mean like everything I have to go by a certain template, but at least there's like a blueprint, a guideline. There's at least guidance for me to live my life. And, as a Muslim, that's what I like about Islam. Like, there is, and Islam as a traditional religion, like, we do have practices and values and beliefs that we try to maintain and preserve. And we don't want to change. We don't want to be, changing with the times. We don't want to be adapting. Like, that's seen as being progressive, and adapting is seen as a good thing. But from the Muslim standpoint, that's actually bad. Like, God revealed a certain template for life. God is our creator. God is the one who knows like what's going to be best for us, what's going to be most fulfilling for us, and what's most functional for us as individuals and the family and a marriage and society. So he's given us a template with details, and that's been preserved like over 1,400 years since it was revealed in the Quran. And then we want to preserve that. We want to abide by that, and we feel that that's fulfilling, that's satisfying. That is something that gives us a kind of happiness and self-containment that is not found outside of that. And if you kind of get into this space where no, we have to progress, anything that comes from the past is backwards, like that's from the Stone Ages, like this kind of mentality that only the latest is the greatest, what's fresh is the best. That mentality, then you have to get rid of all religions, you have to get rid of all cultures, you have to get rid of all traditional ways of life. And then what do you come away with? It's like a malaise. It's like being lost, that many people do feel like, I don't really know how to live my life. I don't see, fine, I just go with what I've known, what I've seen from others, from society. It's like peer pressure. But what is actually ultimately the purpose of this?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have this kind of existential dread.
Yeah, it'd be hard to picture a society without religion.
Well, a lot of people have been working towards that.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been working towards society without religion. Like there's been more extreme programs for that, like with communism, right? Communism deliberately viewed religion as something that needs to be eliminated. Like it's something that's the opiate of the masses. It has to be exterminated.
Wow.
They destroyed churches. They destroyed mosques. They killed millions of Christians, Muslims, like in Soviet Russia, for example.
Jeez.
But even like a less aggressive version of that is like American liberalism, like with the founding fathers, like people like Thomas Jefferson, for example. They thought that, well, we shouldn't really be constrained by the dictates of the church or the dictates of the Bible even. Like we are free thinkers. We are not limited by these traditions, and we should be willing to explore beyond them. And adapt with new technologies, with new ways of life. So that kind of opposition to traditionalism and religion is actually something that goes way back, 300 years. So it actually came from the Enlightenment European context with European philosophers, and they were deliberately going against the church and the Bible in the European context to say that, look, we have science and we have technology. We just had the scientific revolution. We have all these new technologies, and life has to evolve and has to progress. Otherwise, we're going to be constrained by these superstitions, these religious superstitions. So we have to be willing to get rid of these kinds of old ways of life, like that, ideas of marriage or family, even now ideas of gender. Like why should we be restricted to like male and female? Like that's something. I don't know. Do you see that Peter Thiel interview that he did with the New York Times?
I saw a clip, I think.
Yeah, it was crazy because the interviewer asked Peter Thiel, this multi-billionaire co-founder of PayPal, and asked him, "Do you think that the human beings should persist?"
Yeah,
Did you see that? And then he like paused.
He said no, right?
No, he didn't say no, but he said yeah, but after like a minute of thinking. And then he explained that, like he kind of clarified that what he meant is like human beings as they are now, like why can't we imagine like a better thing than a human being? Like human beings are limited, like we're limited by our bodies, we're limited by our minds. Like what about implanting certain things or transforming, like whatever you want? Like why can't we have wings? Like why can't we be in the cloud, like our minds be uploaded to the cloud? Like this is a kind of transhumanist vision, and people like Peter Thiel and other billionaires like that, even Elon Musk to a certain degree, like they think that, well, the human body is so limiting. Like, why should we limit ourselves to the tradition of like having this body with this psychology, with this mind? Like we can change all of it according to technology, and we should have the freedom and choice to be able to do that. And that's exactly the kind of logic that it didn't start with like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. Like this kind of transhumanism, it has its roots in Enlightenment philosophy, like the idea that, because if you go back 300 years and you ask some of those thinkers like John Stuart Mill or Jeremy Bentham or whoever, that what should human beings like be limited by their bodies, like, and you explain to them the technology could actually do these crazy things like put AI, super intelligence in a person's head, they would be for that. They would be for because their philosophy, their whole philosophy is progressive. Like we have to continuously advance and advance and advance, and that's only going to make things better and better and better. But there's another side to that, the dark side of that. Like, and people like when you laugh, and I laugh when we talk about like transhumanism, is because we viscerally realize that, no, that'd be terrible. Like that'd be really bad. Like that would mean that the human race goes extinct. Like humans as we know it would go extinct for something else, like for a transhumanist future. And that's very disturbing. And that's the same kind of reaction that like religious people have, or they had like 300 years ago to the reforms that were being introduced, like to socially transform, Europe or the rest of the world, to forcefully get people to leave their traditions and their values, like their Christian values or their Islamic values or whatever traditional religion or culture. You have to leave it to adopt progress, nonstop progress on the basis of technology. People were very hesitant and very disturbed in the same way that we're disturbed about a transhumanist future for that reason. So I think that we have to recognize the value of tradition and not see it as a kind of burden or something that is constraining us. That's a kind of attitude that I tried to promote in my teaching and writing.
I remember when that transhumanism stuff was like a conspiracy theory, but now these guys are just so blatant about it. It's just like they don't care anymore, right? They don't hide it.
They don't hide it.
Yeah, it's in plain sight now.
Yeah, even like the World Economic Forum, like they were having in one of their recent conferences at Davos. They have an annual conference, and they had a presentation that I watched. Like it's still online. You can watch it. It's not a conspiracy theory. And they're talking about how you have this implant that can read your brainwaves, and when it is able to read your brainwaves, it can decode to actually be able to read your thoughts. And the presentation was about how this technology can be used as like a management tool. Like you're working at a company and they want to make sure that the employees are productive. Like they're not daydreaming or they're not like thinking about something other than work. Also, but it was saying it as like, this is a positive, like this is something that will increase productivity, but also safety. Because imagine like you have an employee who has some kind of like indecent thought about like another employee. So to avoid like sexual harassment to avoid, like you just call that person like, oh, we saw these patterns.
We saw your thoughts.
Yeah, we saw that you're like a pervert basically. And then we're like, that's the kind of technology that they have now. And the people who are at the top, they are, very actively trying to apply it to control people's lives.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's
dude, I got invited to that event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get invited to some really interesting events. I think once you reach a certain amount of viewership, they try to like low-key recruit you into weird shit, Yeah. It's scary, man. Like I'll have in-person events and like a group of them will show up and invite me.
Yeah.
The World Economic Forum. And I have done some research on that, so I'll pass on that event for now.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man. I'm sure you get some interesting offers too these days.
Yeah, I have in the past. I've gotten interesting offers, but I think now they know like that I'm not.
You're not changing your stance.
Yeah, not changing my stance, or I'm not, easily bought. So
yeah, a lot of people in our space are bought. There was an article yesterday that exposed a lot of people on the left. Did you see that?
No.
By the Wired magazine.
Like BreadTube?
Is that RedTube? What is that?
No, BreadTube.
Oh, BreadTube.
That's the old term for like the leftists, like people like Destiny, Vosh, and left-wing YouTube, that their channels just get a lot of engagement, and they're shilling a lot of the time for Democratic candidates. And Democratic policies.
Yeah, I guess it was similar to that. It was like David Pacman and a few others got called out, receiving $8,000 a month.
80,000?
8,000.
Oh, 8,000.
Which isn't
that's still a lot.
That's not even. I mean, it's all relative, I guess, but.
For me, that's a lot.
8,000 is a lot for you?
Yeah.
Well,
to just get it for like what, a few tweets like here and there?
Yeah, I don't know what the exact arrangement was, but I guess just to promote them casually. But it wasn't as much as like the Tim Pool money, right? You saw that?
Yeah, from Russia?
Yeah. That was what, 10 million a year?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Massive amount.
That'd be hard to turn down.
Yeah. Russia hasn't reached out to me with 10 million.
Qatar hasn't reached out to you?
No. Yeah, for sure. Qatar hasn't.
They got Tucker and Candace allegedly.
Yeah, they're the Qatari lobby. It's really quite the tentacles of Qatar spread far and wide.
They're against Israel, right?
Qatar?
Yeah.
Yeah, in certain ways. I mean, Israel, this is what they claim. But it's like the claim that there's a Qatari lobby. I mean, that's just tongue in cheek. But I mean, they're seriously advancing that to distract from the people who actually do have control. And you clearly have an Israeli lobby, and their power is undeniable.
Yeah.
But power likes to hide itself. Power likes to hide its influence in order to be more powerful. So
Yeah, whenever I see headlines now, I'm asking myself like, who's behind this? I don't just believe it anymore. That's sort of how you have to think these days, right?
People they've lost trust in the mainstream media for sure. Like if you look at the favorability ratings of something like CNN, like even in Trump's first term, like there was just no trust about the mainstream media. But when it comes to social media, like people see their like all these famous influencers or even celebrities, and they have these things coming up on their feed, like they're more likely to trust that and see that as organic. Where I think your point is that even that is heavily bought and heavily controlled as
these
well.
days,
and people haven't caught up yet to realize that.
Because it's kind of new, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think alternative media has been compromised.
Yeah.
I'm on the insides of it. I've gotten offers, and I could see the money these shows are making. And I think even if it's not directly like, yo, I'll give you this money, just say this and this, I think it's like indirectly too. With some of their
access,
sponsors.
like being able to get invited and have access to some of the bigger venues.
Exactly.
You have to, go along with it if you want that access. So
yeah, it's tough, man.
It's a problem. Like who's authentic and how do you determine that?
I could probably name on one hand who I think is authentic. You're probably the same, right?
Yeah.
There's not many more than that.
Yeah. One thing that like in my sphere is with the whole war between Israel and Palestine, like it made clear like who is really compromised, because the way that they talk, like the way that an influencer will talk about the issue, like is very revealing.
Right. It says the same talking points as the next guy, right?
Yeah, the same talking, or they'll avoid saying certain things. They'll avoid like criticizing certain governments.
Yeah.
Or they'll like at certain critical moments, like when there was a 12-day war when Israel attacked Iran, and there was even the U.S. had that limited bombing of Iran's nuclear sites. You see people who are Muslim who are coming out against Iran, like right at that time where Israel is bombing. So like, why would you come out like and support Israel? You're a Muslim, and yeah, you might not like Iran as a government, but why like at that particular time in a very coordinated way? I also get personally attacked like in a coordinated way, like accounts that are not seemingly related to each other, and then later we find out that these are part of the same network. Like they
mass report you, right?
Yeah, they mass report, or they make all kinds of videos against me, like smearing me, calling me this and that. Yeah, like if you search my name, like there's a lot of content out there that is targeted directly against me by name. Yeah.
Is that on Twitter or is that on YouTube?
Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't mind putting some money into that, right?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of, because I'm also one of these people that criticizes the Middle Eastern governments for not doing enough, like, or not, in some cases, not doing anything for Palestine, and in fact, working with Israel, normalizing with Israel. So I'm a big critic of that. So there are coordinated campaigns from those countries, and they call them like electronic flies. And this was reported like in the New York Times. Again, it's not a conspiracy theory that some of the Gulf countries, they spend millions of dollars to create these online bot farms.
Yeah.
And in the past, it's like actual people that they hire like for low wages to sit like in a room and be tweeting stuff. But now with AI, they can just easily automate everything. Like you can automate all these influence campaigns on a mass scale. That's what's really concerning as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's super crazy.
You know Nuseir?
Yeah.
He's very popular, but he's
Indian guy, right?
He's Palestinian, actually.
Oh, he's Palestinian.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Palestinian, but he has renounced essentially his Palestinian identity.
Whoa.
He says, I'm Israeli first.
What?
Yeah.
How does that even happen?
Yeah, well, another person who's completely bought. Like he's a complete shill. But he's got a lot of backlash for this. But he is like, super, super popular. He was actually one of the first accounts or influencers that was promoted heavily by Facebook. Like in the early days of Facebook, he got millions of followers early on.
Yeah, I used to see him everywhere.
Yeah, because the algorithm was designed to like promote his content,
right?
In a very calculated, specific way. So then Nuseir was being interviewed by an Israeli actually. And he said that, he was saying this as a good thing. Like I, as one individual, I can only make so many videos. Like I'm just one person. But with AI, like you can have 100 people like me putting out in every language, like content that is going to be engaging. It's going to be like, it's going to look good. It's going to show up on people's feeds and it's going to like have the right message, the right message. And he's openly like talking about this and working with intelligence agencies to implement this kind of technology.
Crazy.
Yeah. So just imagine, like, because the way that these influence campaigns work is that you have different interest groups, right? So you have people who are interested in crypto, or you have people interested in soccer or whatever sport or music. And you have, like, let's say Taylor Swift, like she's an artist. And then you have a lot of influencers who just orbiting her content or her music and follow her, like celebrity gossip, etc. Now, what if those 100 influencers, like, yeah, you can like buy them off and some will, take that deal to promote your message or not. But what if you just create like 100 influencers specifically for the Taylor Swift fan base or like, I don't know, Ronaldo or some football player or whatever. And those influencers, it's like football content or music content or pop culture or crypto or whatever, but you just insert that messaging, that political messaging, like, support Israel or support Zionism or, support the Republican Party, whatever. Like that's like 5% of your message, but it just seems very organic. Like, oh, and then the people who are consuming that content from those influencers, like, well, they get influenced by it because they think it's completely organic. That messaging is just coming from the people that I follow in that interest category.
They're sneaky with it. Yeah, you got to be subtle these days. You can't be too blatant, right? Because people will catch on.
Yeah, but with AI, that can be automated. Like it can be fine tuned. Like the way that people interact with the content on social media, the way they engage in it, the AI can learn and become more and more progressively effective. So that's the scary part about it, is that the AI is going to constantly be learning and fine-tuning in a way that like conventional means of influence management is not able to do.
Yeah. Plus, we're not even talking about the deep fakes too.
Yeah.
It's going to be a ton of those. I'm sure they're going to try to deep fake you to say something in the future. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Yeah, they've tried to do similar things with crude means like Photoshop, like photoshopping me next to an Israeli flag. Like someone photoshopped like a CIA page, like, oh, Daniel's a CIA agent, and
you got hit with the CIA tag. Yeah, Fuentes is a Fed too.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Netanyahu PBD interview? Did you watch the whole thing yet?
Yeah, I did a reaction to it. It was just so stupid and sad.
Because I know you've been on PBD, and I usually think he's a pretty fair interviewer.
Yeah, I had a lot of hope. Like he's kind of someone who presented himself as an alternative voice, right, and when you have like this environment of distrust against social media or mainstream media, and then you have valuetainment PBD coming, and he's going to give you the truth. He's going to tell you the truth about COVID. He's going to tell you the truth about vaccines or whatever. He develops like a really hardcore, faithful following. People like that. Okay, you're authentic. Like you're willing to take risks to speak the truth. So he gained like a huge following off of that brand. But now people have been really disillusioned because he is pushing something that is indefensible, like pushing a war criminal. Like you're interviewing him and you're rolling out the red carpet. You're asking him these questions. And you're not giving any pushback, like in that whole and you can look at the top comments, like in the video, all of them are against him. Like I read like the first 100 comments, and there wasn't a single positive comment supporting PBD or Netanyahu.
Wow.
And they're all calling him out, like you're a shill, like and very harshly. I think it was so harsh that he even like put out a reaction, like saying like people are trying to kill me for just speaking. Like so he was actually reacting to the backlash. I didn't watch that yet.
Yeah.
But it was really extreme. I ratioed him too. Like I was tweeting at him. Even I was able to ratio PBD. But yeah, it was just very disgusting in the way that he platforms Netanyahu, a war criminal, and he doesn't mention the killing of Palestinians. Like he doesn't mention the death toll. He doesn't mention like any actual human loss of life on the Palestinian side. Like it's not even a concern for him to even ask. And then the questions he does ask Netanyahu, he doesn't push back on the responses. Like he just lets Netanyahu present himself as like, yeah, we're fighting it. This is all defense. Like we're just defending ourselves. And actually this war, we're doing it for America because we're the only ones standing in front of like these terrorists. And if these terrorists like Iran and the Palestinians had their way, they would bomb the United States. Like all of this propaganda. Yeah. Netanyahu spreading PBD. I know he knows better. Like I know that he knows better.
He's pro-Israel, right? PBD.
Yeah, he's like ever since October 7th, he's been like this.
I know Adam is too. I don't know about the other two co-hosts, but
yeah. Well, Adam, his co-host is Jewish, so and then but PBD himself, like he's Christian, half Assyrian, half Armenian. Yeah. And you'd think that as an Iranian too, like he lived in Iran for a long time, like he would have some kind of like concern about Israel bombing his country, but apparently not.
Yeah.
Which is weird because a lot within Iranian society, obviously there's a split. You have the more religious minded and then the more reform minded, secular minded. But since the war, like since Israel was bombing and hundreds of Iranians died, it kind of was a force of bringing people together. Like even the people on different sides of the aisle were coming, okay, you're religious, I'm not, but we need to stand together for Iran. Because this is crazy. Like Israel is offensively attacking us and causing all this, attacking civilian areas, and it's causing all this damage. But for someone like PBD, who claims that he's proud of Iran, like he's proud of the Shah of Iran. Like before 1979, the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, was in charge and he got deposed. So he has all this kind of nationalistic sentiment. But how deep is your nationalism if you're fine with a foreign country coming and bombing and you're still going to like glaze them and you're going to bring them? So it's really disgraceful.
It reminds me of, obviously this is way worse with the war, but like when Kamala was doing interviews, no one was willing to ask tough questions. It reminds me of that with Netanyahu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's actually quite revealing. It's just like, it's supposed to be an interview, but it's just like a puff piece. Like you're just asking the easy softball questions and then not pushing back. So then it's propaganda. Like it's just pure propaganda. That's one of the things that was good about Trump, actually. Like in his first term, especially, like the mainstream media was so oppositional and they were asking him all kinds of hard questions. He would go into debates and you knew that the moderators were just going to ask questions to make him look as bad as possible. And somehow he was like winning, those debates and he was able to answer questions. And that's what got him, like, I think most of his popularity,
100%.
His ability to perform in those interviews and face a hostile crowd. But there aren't other politicians who are willing to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd say most probably aren't, right?
Yeah.
They don't want the chance of looking bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. I wonder if we'll ever see a real legit interview with Netanyahu. You think we will?
With Netanyahu? No way. I mean, he's going on a podcast tour.
Yeah.
So
I've been offered it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I'd do it because I don't think I'd be able to ask what I want, first of all. Yeah. Also, I'm not as educated. So I don't want to just look stupid too. But when I'm on a podcast, I want to be able to ask whatever I want. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they won't let you ask what you want.
Yeah,
so they'll give you a script and then you're just going to be doing propaganda.
Exactly. When the Nelk Boys interviewed, they said they got handed a piece of paper with questions. Like, I would never do that. You know what I mean? No matter what guest it was. Yeah. Even if you're like a huge celebrity, like that's just not authentic.
Yeah, it's not authentic. You'll lose the trust of your followers. Yeah. So that's what's happening to PBD. Like a lot of people who are hardcore fans, and they're saying in the comments, they're like, I trusted you. I was ride or die for you, but now I can't trust what you're saying because this is just a war criminal that you're platforming and doing propaganda for him.
And he won't have Fuentes on. That might be the only way to save his show at this point, to have him on, right?
Maybe, yeah. If he has Nick on, that would be interesting. But I think he'll get destroyed in another way. Like Nick is would just tear him apart.
Yeah, Nick's a phenomenal debater. I saw his debate with Dinesh. I thought he won that debate pretty. You're probably a good judge at debating. Where would you rank Fuentes in terms of debate skills?
Yeah, I had like a brief interaction with him on Twitter because of that debate, because I was arguing that strategically he didn't do so well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was critical of, but I was giving him constructive criticism.
Okay.
Why? Because, I think that he had the correct position. Like the debate that they had was about the U.S. support for Israel.
Yeah.
And I think the specific topic was, is Iran a threat like that the U.S. should deal with or should help Israel deal with? So I think that he did a good job, and obviously I agree with his position. But I don't think he brought his strongest arguments. So I think he let Dinesh kind of control the debate too much.
Interesting.
And like my criticism wasn't that extensive. It was just that like he needed like a more developed opening statement.
Okay. Some more technical stuff.
Yeah, it's a more technical so that you can, like, when you go into a debate, like you want it to be on your terms. You don't want to have the debate be with you on the back foot, just be defensive the whole time. Like you want to be offensive and really put the opponent in the toughest position.
Got it.
And if you don't manage that right from the beginning, then the debate kind of becomes a wash.
Right.
because what Dinesh was trying to do was just say that, well, Iran is this crazy mullah country. They just want to kill all Americans. They chant death to America. So obviously it's rational for us to want to, as Americans, to neutralize that threat.
Yeah.
That's just logical. It has nothing to do with like we're controlled by Israel or the Israeli lobby. And then Nick he went off of that premise because the first opening statement was by Dinesh. Mm-hmm. And then rather than like when you do an opening statement, like it's an opportunity for you to like put your position, your main arguments, your best evidence, like in 5-10 minutes. And it should be independent of the other person's opening statement. Just because the other person goes first, your opening statement should not be a reaction, like a response to their opening statement.
Right.
That response comes later.
Okay.
The response comes later in the debate. In your opening statement, when it's your turn, you have to give your own argument and your own position and keep the ball in your court until then it's the response period. Then both sides have to respond. So in that response period, my humble suggestion, constructive criticism to Nick would have been to put your own best arguments in place and put all the pressure on Dinesh to have to defend, like, why does the United States have this special relationship with Israel when it's literally causing all kinds of problems economically for the U.S., politically, diplomatically, like these nonstop wars in the Middle East are bleeding America dry. Like it's creating an economic crisis, literally. Like the war on terror since 2001 has cost a very conservative estimate, $8 trillion for the United States, and all, not to mention other kinds of problems. So why should Donald Trump support Israel in opening up another war with another Middle Eastern country when there are so many problems at home that need to be addressed? Like this becomes an existential problem for America if the U.S. supports Israel in trying to do regime change in Iran. I think that's going to be the strongest argument, and that's going to put the pressure on Dinesh D'Souza to defend that special relationship that the U.S. has with Israel, with the Israeli lobby, and he's going to be very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah,
because that compromises him and his position and his relationship with Zionist organizations and neocons. So that's what I was hoping to see in that debate. Instead, the debate became about like, well, are these mullahs in Iran crazy or not? Like, or are they rational? Like, do they have like in their pursuit of nuclear weapons, is that a rational pursuit? Like that's an important topic. Like, does Iran have the right to defend itself? Like, does Iran have the right to pursue nuclear weapons? Should America try to prevent Iran from pursuing nuclear weapons? What does that mean in geopolitical terms and the history and context of the region, et cetera, et cetera? That's a very interesting, important discussion to have, and that's what Nick was very skillfully and knowledgeably presenting in that debate as you watched it and enjoyed it. My only criticism was like, is that like the best opportunity? Like, is that the best use of the opportunity when you're facing like a bona fide neocon,
right,
one of the neocon figures, and who has this history, like, and is morally compromised? Like, from Nick's perspective, from like an American first perspective, Dinesh is a traitor to America. So it was a very cordial interview, which is fine, or a debate rather, and that's fine. You can be cordial, but you should also be able to like bring the heavy criticisms and bring the heavy punches to be able to put him on the back foot in that kind of debate.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my criticism, but overall I supported Nick's position. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, learning lesson. When we see him and Charlie Kirk, I'm sure he'll be even better.
Oh, that'd be great.
Or him and Candace even. I would love to see that one too.
Yeah, I hope that something like that shapes up.
Yeah, we'll see. You've debated some of the smartest people in the world, some of the top debaters in the world. Which one stands out to you the most? Like, which opponent was the most worthy, I guess?
Well, I think the best person or the smartest person I debated, there's a white nationalist who's a PhD in biology. He wrote books on evolution and genetics, but his name is J.F. Grapey.
I don't even
He's
know
Canadian.
J.F. Grapey.
Yeah. Might be an interesting
What was the
person
debate
to talk
about?
to. It was about religion versus ethnic identity. So he was arguing that ethnic identity, like being white, is a better source of your identity as a person than like a religious identity, like being a Muslim or a Christian.
Wow, I have not heard that angle.
Yeah.
Sounds like some Fuentes shit right there.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually Christian, so no. But he does like the white identity stuff too.
Yeah. So that's Yeah, I debated Keith Woods as well.
Okay.
You know, that's one of Nick's friends as well.
Yeah.
Keith Woods, other white nationalists I've debated, but I like JF Grapey because he gave his opening statement, and then I gave my opening statement, and then he said in his response, he said, "Well, you win. Like, you had the better argument." Like he actually conceded
Really?
the debate, and he
What?
said, "You're
That
right."
quickly?
Yeah, like right. I thought he was trolling me. I thought he was joking, but he was the only one who conceded a debate.
Wow.
That I've seen.
I've never heard of someone conceding a debate, especially at your level. I feel like everyone's so set on their opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I felt like that was a very nice and honest way. Like he was very magnanimous about it. So I appreciated that. That's like a noteworthy thing that stands in my mind.
What about someone that's really challenged your beliefs, where you had to like go home afterwards and really look up what they were saying and kind of dig into it?
Never really happened. I mean,
Really?
everyone might say that, but I actually do think that, because I go into debates with a game plan and with an argument that's been considered from all angles. So I won't actually accept a debate where I'm not like 1000% sure that I have the correct position. And I do a lot of research in advance and talk to a lot of people, consume a lot of content to do research. And I only like accept debates or propose debates with people, challenge them, if I'm like very sure that all, the I's have been dotted and T's have been crossed. So if I were to debate, like in my personal life, I've debated people on things like I just thought were right, and I've lost. Like I've lost those debates, but those aren't like on a big platform. It's not a formal debate. Like for example, like just in my personal life, like my parents are from Iran, and they're Shia. Like it's Shia Muslims, and that's the minority denomination. There's Sunni Muslims, and so I became Sunni, and partly that was because of getting in conversations, like informal debates with Sunnis, and realizing, oh, okay, I really don't know, or I don't understand as much as I thought I did. Like I thought I was Shia, but some of these things don't make sense. And I became Sunni after doing research. And so I was, convinced of the other side.
Got it.
So in my personal life, that happens all the time, or even arguments with my wife.
Classic.
Or my kids. Now my kids are debating and arguing with me.
I love it. It runs in the family.
Yeah. And they watch my content too. So they're watching. They've memorized all my debates.
Wow.
And,
how old are they?
My oldest is 13 and
Well done.
11. I have 5 boys, so.
Dude, well done. Yeah, critical thinking is lost these days. So the fact that they're learning about debates at that age, that's a great skill to have.
Yeah.
So well done. Good parenting. Public school or no?
They're homeschooled.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Public school, they wouldn't ever learn about stuff like this, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I went through the public school system. I was in a pretty big public school. Like we had a class of 800 kids in high school in Houston.
That's big.
Yeah, it was a big school.
Were you on the debate team?
No.
Really?
I wasn't in debate at that time.
Oh, wow.
I was in the Muslim Students Association, and then there was something called Academic Decathlon.
Okay.
It's like a nerdy thing. Like you just study and then you do events.
Okay.
Like, but Academic Decathlon, I don't know if they still have it, but I didn't do debate. I didn't do Model UN or any of that. But if I had to do it again, I would.
Did you go to university too after?
Yeah, I went to Harvard.
Oh, shit. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so no wonder the Trump-Harvard thing kind of hits deep for you then.
Yeah.
That makes sense now.
Yeah. It's actually, I mean, Harvard has a long history of, bowing the knee to certain interests and certain groups. Yeah. And we experienced that at Harvard too. Like when I was a student, undergrad, I was studying physics and philosophy as a secondary. But there was this was like after 9/11. Like it was still in the Bush era.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of anti-Muslim sentiment that you don't really see as much of. Now you see more of it because ever since October 7th, they've gotten the green light to become more racist against Muslims, like in media and politics, like ramp up the racism.
It's coming back.
It's coming back in a big way. But back then, like it was pretty intense, and there was like campus groups, like Republican conservative groups that were like just pure Zionists, and they would invite like IDF soldiers to come speak on campus. Crap. Yeah, like Israeli officials, like they're really putting Muslims in a bad position. Like you had, you had a lot of what you consider anti-Muslim sentiment that was sanctioned or like allowed to happen on the university, which is
That's
ironic
crazy.
because now like they talk about like if you have a pro-Palestine protest that's anti-Semitic, like you're making a hostile environment for Jewish students. But they didn't care about Muslim students back then. Like they didn't care about like making Muslims feel like a fifth column. So there was even a email that went out from the dean or one of the assistant deans. She emailed the Republican campus group, like they put out a magazine, and that magazine was putting out a lot of anti-Muslim stuff. And the dean sent them an email saying that, you know, because of your actions, because of putting out this anti-Muslim content, you're fine. You're allowed to do it, but just be aware the Muslims might get violent. The Muslim students might get violent. So then we're, as Muslim students, like, you're just calling us like violent terrorists. Like you're saying that the Muslim students are gonna like do something violent just because we don't like this anti-Muslim stuff being published. So even like that was the depth of the kind of bias against Muslims at that time, that even at the level of the dean of Harvard, like she was putting out like emails like that, because that email got leaked. And it was reported on with the campus newspaper, and even nationally. I think there was national news about it at that time. So
That is nuts.
Back in 2006 or 2005.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of subconscious programming to hate Muslims growing up. I saw a viral clip of Dan Bilzerian talking about all the war movies and how the terrorist organization was always like a Muslim group in the movie, no matter what movie it was. And that's so true, right? When you look back at these war movies.
Yeah, it's like it was a deliberate program, actually. Like the Israeli government was involved in some of these Hollywood movies. Like you had Jewish producers who were working with literally like the foreign minister of Israel to produce these types of movies. Have you heard? It's like an old movie from the 80s, like Delta Force with Chuck Norris.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
so it was back then in the 80s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that goes way back. To depict Arabs specifically as these irrational, bloodthirsty killers who just want to they just have this hatred for anyone who's not a Muslim, and they want to like terrorize, kill women and children with no regard for life. That's the image that has been implanted into people's heads because of these movies and media.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, you're very impressionable. I remember watching these movies and like definitely recognizing like the patterns, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's very apparent.
Yeah, and then now we see like what's going on in the Middle East, like who's really killing women and children, who's like starving people to death. It's the Arabs are the biggest victims, and they have been the biggest victims since the creation of the State of Israel and before that.
How do you see the war playing out if America keeps funding? Like, do you feel like it's going to remain how it is? Do you think it'll get worse? Like,
if it keeps going in this direction, it's going to keep getting worse. Like, because I think that Israel just has these bigger goals. Like, they have these bigger goals for greater Israel. Like, they want to expand their territory as much as they can. Like, biblically, they believe that they've inherited the land between the Nile and the Euphrates. So that's in Egypt, all the way to Euphrates in Iraq.
wow.
Yeah,
so they're going to keep going. Holy crap.
I mean, they're explicit about it. Like Netanyahu was just asked a couple of weeks ago, like, do you believe in the Greater Israel Project?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, my vision is aligned with that. Like he's explicitly saying it.
Wow. So it won't stop at Palestine.
Yeah, it's just getting started. Like they want to clear out they want to clear out Gaza, then they want to clear out the West Bank. That's why they stopped referring to it as the West Bank. They are referring it to as Judea and Samaria.
Yeah.
Like this is the biblical term for our homeland. So they're already erasing the identity. Like the West Bank Palestinians have been completely split up because the expanding settlements within Israel, which are illegal according to international law. So that's the phase 2 is taking out the West Bank, and they're occupying southern Lebanon. They're occupying southern Syria. They want to expand east through Jordan. And the Sinai in Egypt as well. And these are things that are imminently going to happen. And there's no pushback. Like, what's going to stop Israel from expanding as much as they want? The U.S. is not interested in, like, putting a stop to it. Like, if they were interested, they would prevent the settlements from expanding in the West Bank, or they would prevent, like, the occupation of Gaza. Like, Gaza, Netanyahu has already announced, and the Knesset, their legislature, has announced that they've approved occupation of Gaza. They're just going to take it over. So America, according to American policy, that shouldn't happen. The official American policy is that America does not support these expansions. But it's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen, and Trump is going to allow it to happen. The Congress is going to allow it to happen. So then if they want to do more than that, if they want to expand more than that, who's going to really stop them?
I'd be very curious what the average Israeli citizen thinks of all this. Do you think they support Netanyahu?
They support him in the sense that they like, having the Palestinians eliminated. Like the surveys show that the vast majority of Israelis, actually Jews internationally, they support the war. They support what Israel is doing. They support the tactics.
Wow.
So they support it on that basis. There are protests though against Netanyahu, and people say, "Oh, see, these are protesters who are appalled by the war crimes and the atrocities." That's not the case. The protesters in Israel are just annoyed at the fact that the economic situation in the country is so bad.
Right.
So there's been, because of the war, there's been a naval blockade, for example, because of the Houthis in Yemen blocking the Red Sea. Mm-hmm. So their southernmost port in Aqaba in the south has been all but bankrupted, shut down. Mm. So their economy is going through heavy losses, unemployment. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have to leave their jobs because they're being called up as reserves to fight in the war, joining the IDF. So their economy is in a downturn, and that's what the Israelis are upset with Netanyahu about.
Got it. So it's not actually about the war.
It's not about the war itself, because Israel has always been engaged in these types of wars, and their national identity is like based on wars of conquest.
Right.
Like they're very proud of 1948. They're very proud of, these 1967 war, etc.
Damn, what a shame. Well, Daniel, thanks for speaking the truth, man. It's very brave of you to do this, first of all. I don't know if a lot of people realize that, but it's not easy. So thank you. And where can people find you and support you, man?
You can find me on my channel, Muslim Skeptic, on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter. You can just search or X, you can search my last name, and I have an account there. So, and awesome. I have the website, muslimskeptic.com.
Cool. Check him out, guys. Hopefully next time you see him, it'll be on a debate on my show. We had 2 people back out today, so I'll try to set one up for next time.
Yeah, that'd be great. We can have a debate, very respectful, and you can moderate it. If there's a topic people are interested in, they can leave it in the comments.
Yeah, leave it in the comments, guys, if you want to see that. See you next time. Peace. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the show a lot with the algorithm. Thank you.